Hi, everyone, and welcome to this webinar organized by Docsity in partnership with Syracuse University. My name is Carolina, nice to meet you all, and I'll be your host for today's event on behalf of Docsity. I see here that the first people are already starting to join in. We're going to wait a few minutes before starting to allow everyone to connect. And of course, in the meantime, feel free to say hi on our chat here in Zoom, and please tell us where you're from since we are very curious. Okay, first of all, I want to thank everyone for joining us and thank our panelists for being here with us today. As you can see, I'm not alone. I would like to introduce you all to Dr. Sri Ramakrishnan, Assistant Director in Graduate Recruitment at Syracuse University. And we also have with us two alumni from the MBA at Syracuse University, Tamara and Sabina Seredneva, that of course are also sisters. So welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
Together with them, we are going to discover how these entrepreneurial sisters pursued their MBAs, navigated cultural shifts, and also built remarkable careers, transforming their family business and making their mark in the US. And you also have the possibility to learn practical tips to share your academic and professional journey with confidence. And of course, at the end of the webinar, we will do a Q&A session. So you also have the possibility to interrupt our speakers and ask them questions. You can write all your questions in the Q&A box here in Zoom at the bottom of the page. And at the end of the webinar, we'll go through all of them and all the panelists will answer you. So don't be shy and just dial up with all your questions in the Q&A section here in Zoom. Also, for those of you interested in receiving the certificate of attendance by Docsity, stay tuned because we'll post a link to get the certificate at the end of the session. Okay, I see some other people joining, and so welcome again to all of you. And we are going to talk about Syracuse University. We're going to discover all the testimonials from our students. So I think that without further ado, I can leave the floor to our panelists for their presentation. So enjoy this all-female webinar and see you later.
Okay. Carolina, thank you for that. It's wonderful to be back again with Docsity in this new year. Happy New Year, everyone. And we're starting out this new year with a very interesting storytelling, if you will, of two sisters from Baku, Azerbaijan, who found their current careers in the US, and we'll talk about where they are at and what they're doing through their journey at the Whitman School of Management, Syracuse University. And before you leave, Carolina, I just want to acknowledge we are in this age of technology and globalization. You are participating from Italy. I'm here on the East Coast in Syracuse, upstate New York. Tamara is joining us from New Jersey. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Sabina is joining us from the West Coast. Good morning.
Good morning.
And of course, we have participants from all over the world. So welcome and thank you for taking the time to join us today. So let's start with, we did say, even in the title, that these are sisters. So I want to establish some hierarchy and some basic understanding. So yes, which of the Baku sisters wants to start? And I guess you guys didn't know that you are also referred to as the Seredneva sisters or the Baku sisters. And you have a few other monikers as well. So Sabina, let's start with you, because technically I think in the hierarchy, you are the oldest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your background before you came to Whitman.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I'm oldest sister, Tamara's oldest sister. So I had my undergraduate degree in international relations. I got it from Academy of Public Administration of under the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan. And then I actually got introduced to tourism industry, and it happened naturally. We kicked off like a travel agency startup, and it became a family business eventually. And I led it for 5 years. Yeah, eventually I wanted more like a career, bigger like career growth maybe. And eventually Tamara kind of persuaded me that US would be a good path for me. And yeah, and I ended up in Syracuse University. And once I graduated, I was able to get a job at Amazon, where I'm currently at. And for the past 3 years, oh yeah, sorry, you were actually mentioning before.
I was like, she's continuing the story. That's fine.
But yeah, it was a pretty interesting experience before Syracuse, I think, in terms of like I was exposed to, both business, but then I actually was having like a degree at international relations. So it's kind of totally different background coming to Syracuse, and then eventually starting like data analytics career. Yeah.
Okay, hold off. Let's get into that a little later. But Tamara, what about you?
My experience was a bit different in that I come from a finance background. I hold a bachelor's degree in finance, and so for me, my mind just automatically follows money. And so, as Sabina was saying, we had a family business, but then, as with many small post-Soviet countries, no matter how hard you work, just from the fact that population is so small, your revenue will never be astronomically high as it is in United States, just as a result of bigger population. And so in terms of, ROI, it always made sense to come to United States, and it always made sense to come to Syracuse for other reasons that we can get into later. But as I said, as someone with a finance background, I always thought, okay, what's the return that it's going to get me based on the time that I spend there? And so that's how I came to Syracuse.
Okay, so let's stay with you for a second, because even though now we've established the hierarchy that Sabina is the older sister, as far as Whitman alumni are concerned, Tamara is the senior alumna. And so when I remember back when you had first started exploring Syracuse, it was you had the opportunity to visit Syracuse.
Yes.
Yes.
So yes, actually. Let me mention that. So before applying to Syracuse, I actually did visit United States as an exchange student, and it was part of this U.S. Department of State program called UGrad, where they place you in random states for a semester. And I was placed in Utica, New York, which is about 30 minutes away from Syracuse, I want to say. And during my stay there, I did visit Syracuse for, I think it was a hockey game or something like that. It always was an attraction for entertainment. And from there on, I just got familiar with campus. And so when I returned home and graduated with my bachelor's, it made sense to apply to somewhere that I was familiar with. So, and that's how I reached out to Shri.
Yes, and your initial interest was in entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And of course, we talked about your opportunities or potential, given your background with your family business already, to explore the MBA. Mm-hmm. So let's go into a little bit. Yes, I know you guys are all well established with your careers right now, but let's take you back to school days. Okay, so nostalgia, a little trip, and your journey was a little different from when Sabina came on board. So let's talk about your journey. So you came in 2016?
17.
You wrote to me in 2016. That's right.
Yes.
And December 2016, we had an interview. And so, okay, 2017 fall, you started the program. So when you came to Syracuse, what was your initial focus or area of interest? within the MBA in terms of specialization? Were you still thinking about finance? Were you thinking about expanding to other specialization areas, or did you just want to explore what was available? What was your
Yeah, totally. So I after graduating with finance degree, I realized I never want to work in finance. I didn't enjoy it, and so I was like, maybe the furthest away I can go in business is marketing. So I came into Whitman thinking I'll probably pick marketing specialization. But when I was there, I actually saw that one of the newer options that appeared was business analytics. I don't think it even was listed on the website yet, but anything new and shiny.
New offering that was made available, that was the first year. Yes.
So as someone who is attracted to new things, unknown things, I was like, okay, I guess this is what I'm doing. And additionally, it also was emphasized to us by the career services and by professors how much in demand this new sphere is, which would make finding a placement after graduation easier. And so at that point, my main goal was to find a placement right after graduation to ensure my stay in the country. And that is how I decided to focus on business analytics, just to purely increase my chances and learn something new and then unknown.
Okay, so did you stay with just business analytics as one specialization, or did you also add a second specialization?
I did take a few classes here and there, specializing in analytics, specializing in marketing. And what's good about Whitman is that they allow you to take classes even outside of your school, which me, again, attracted to new things. There was this brand new class in iSchool of UX design. I'm taking an MBA degree. What does UX design have to do with it? But again, because I was attracted to something new, I decided that I will apply it in my business analytics skills, where when you design a dashboard or present some sort of data, you want to create a beautiful story, and you can only do that if you know the design principles. And yeah, that definitely came in handy later.
Okay, that's great. So you graduated 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll stop with you for a second. Moving to Sabina. I think everyone would have gotten a sense by now when I said 2019. It was the year before the year that didn't exist, if you will. So let's talk about your journey and experience. So you started the program in fall 2019 or 2020?
2019, yeah.
2019, you started the program. And one semester in, and you had to pivot into a lot of things. So let's talk about your experience. When you came in, what was your initial thinking? Because you already had this experience with managing the family business. You had your sister telling you about her student life and experience, so we'll talk more about that. But what were you thinking when you first came to Whitman in terms of what you wanted to pursue for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So at that time, we already kind of had we had business for 5.5 years actually. I was trying to calculate it before, and apparently it's not 5 years like I say everywhere, it's 5.5. So I remember when it was like 5 years, and it became like 5 years already in like November 2018. And by that time I realized, actually I will support Tamara's point on the fact that when the economy is small and population is small, there is like a limit you can reach. And I definitely wanted and always imagined for myself something like some bigger career, like more on an international platform. And obviously, like it was very obvious when I would ask, professional people around, when I would ask like family friends around, like what is the better place to, grow. Next step would be for me. A lot of people said like it made sense that for you to go to US, because where else you can get better business degree than US like made especially for people who had like had some entrepreneurial experience. Kind of that led to the decision to coming to US. Of course, yes, as you said, like, and if you want, we can go later into that. Like Tamara shared a lot, advertised a lot this Syracuse in Whitman College to me. Yeah, coming to college, I feel like first, well, she shared a lot of good benefits, like, advantages of being a student in US and Syracuse University. But I feel like first thing what I noticed is how much how Syracuse and Whitman College creates like very, very nurturing conditions for students. You probably will never hear the word no if you ask for something or ask for help or ask for, some resources, sources. Like basically, if you want to learn or if you want to like learn something and, get some skills, there is always someone who is ready to help you, some like resources ready to help you. So that was something that I was shocked that like everything is open to you and actually everyone is reaching out to you with this, opportunities. It's not like you need to run and actually ask and like, and try to find yourself and figure out. I think that was my first shock. Like there is opportunities everywhere. You need just to choose what you feel like you would be interested in.
Yeah, and so within the first semester of coming, and by the way, let me just backtrack for a little phrase over here that you made a comment. You said Tamara was sharing a lot about Whitman with you. She wasn't really sharing. She was pseudo recruiting for me. And, good job, Tamara. So that was great. But you came to Whitman fall 2019. You were there for orientation and you were able to meet the staff from the various departments and of course the career services and the grad programs office, met your faculty members. And then 6 months later, you had to pivot into a virtual setting because of the pandemic. And so talk a little bit about how that initial start was like for the spring semester for you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was hard like for everyone because suddenly I'm going like for 1 week kind of holiday, like spending with Tamara, and then suddenly announce, oh yeah, we're not coming back till the end of the semester. So, but I feel like for everyone during COVID, it's first like it was a little bit hard on like mental, health and like, emotionally. But actually, I was honestly, now that I'm looking back, there definitely were some benefits from being online and taking a lot of courses online. But initially, we had a lot of like confusion. I was actually surprised how quickly Whitman organized everything for like for students. Like I don't feel at ever I had like a point where I felt that something is like not like that I don't have enough resources online or to gain knowledge or communicate with my peers or participate in events or anything. So I would say like one thing is that I really appreciated that it was done like the reorganization, the kind of restructuring, how like to provide classes to students who organized very quickly. We were, as soon as we were announced, like 1 week later, we already had like online resources. Everything was pretty much planned, and we actually, I feel they actually what I appreciated is that Whitman always took kind of like they would ask for the feedback from students, how they can like improve your experience, especially since we went online. They were like every week I almost like received at least questions like either from professors or from like students office dean offices, like how we can improve your experience, what else can we do. So that was a good surprise, and definitely there are some like disadvantages of online, but yeah, let me know if you want to speak about that.
We'll do that in a little bit of a comparison here, because of course you didn't have the in-person student experience with potentially, things that just happen, like you're coming out of class and suddenly there's some free food available because the grad office put out some coffee and donuts or what have you for helping you prepare for exams or celebrating, a Chinese New Year or whatever. Those kinds of things you didn't have. But Tamara, let's go back to you because, you know, as a senior alum here, there's
Keep saying that.
Yeah, I keep saying that because one of the things that I want to emphasize, both of you have had a chance to come back to school after you graduated. But if you look at the website now to compare with the opportunities that you had, you will see there are a lot of innovations even now at the school. So it's one of the things that constantly evolves at Whitman. So going back to your time at Whitman and when you chose your, you know, specialization and your coursework, are there any courses that, this is a two-pronged question, so take it how you know, want to prepare your response to that. But one part of the question is there any course that really stands out for you in your student experience? The second part of the question is there any course that you took at Whitman that really was directly connected to how you use it in your day-to-day professional life?
I think both of those point me to the same class, which was the class of Business Analytics by Professor Harder. And the reason why it is that particular class that comes to mind is because it didn't just teach us the knowledge, right? Because we can read books anywhere. It gave us this, and for context, business analytics was this like general umbrella, almost introductory class to the world of analytics. And I believe every 2 weeks, a new analytics tool was introduced, whether that be RStudio or SQL or Tableau, Power BI, whatever. And I think, and obviously we didn't go deep into every tool because there was only 2 weeks, but it gave us this skill. It taught us the skill to figure it out, because at the end of the day, tomorrow all of these tools will be gone and something new will come out, and to keep ourselves employable on the market, we need to keep up. And so I feel like I still use to this day the skill that I learned there of figuring out, because as I'm working every year, we have something new coming up and I have to learn something new, but that skill is really coming in handy.
And I believe now he's also added ChatGPT and its different iterations into that class.
Amazing.
That's
Amazing.
So, Sabina, what about you? Any particular class that stands out for you? And is there any course that you employ in your day-to-day professional life?
Yeah, I would say first class that I wanted really to mention is data analysis and decision making taught by Anna Chernobyl. I think I mention it everywhere. I feel like even at interviews for for work, I haven't mentioned that class. I feel like that's the class that changed my career. So when I came to MBA, I was thinking that I will during first semester explore what specializations it have, like what can I do, what can I focus on during next 2 years. But that class showed me like really that okay, business analytics, I also want to go into data analytics, business analytics. And the reason why is because the class is all around the skills in Excel, but when everyone on their laptop has Excel. But then Professor Chinabai showed us how like this tool that everyone has and actually uses on daily basis, but like, for simple things, is like capable of doing so many type of analysis on data, from historical analysis to price analysis to current forecast to future forecasting predictions, to some data science models, and you're getting surprised like, wow, this is just Excel so powerful. And I was wondering like what's more there, like, and that's what actually how business analytics in general area like got my attention, and I wanted like to learn more, get more in depth into data science, maybe into big data analytics. And so I always say like this definitely course that changed my career path, that showed me like, wow, data is powerful. And the fact that previously for 5 years I had business and I had to make these decisions, like important decisions like on daily basis, but the fact how this data made decision making so easy, and I didn't realize like how 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 would I say, like, yes, you can just like make it more efficiently and faster, and it's just so powerful, you know, in general, like data analytics for you know, creating strategies, making decisions from daily to like bigger scale decisions. So yeah, I think that's the courses that I really liked. It was a big course, actually, like a big group of I feel like we had like more than 150 people in the class, but still I still feel like the experience I got from that class was the first like shocking effect that something like this exists, and I wanted to build my career in that field for sure.
Okay, that's great. I think I'm going to use this this little description of yours to get Professor Chernobyl to do another masterclass for me. So, but it's that's great. So this I think sets up how something that you got really interested in at Whitman in terms of your coursework then helped you define your careers and take it in separate ways. So let's stay with you, Sabina, for a second, and then talk about were there any courses you took outside of Whitman, and how was your virtual experience like when you did that? You know, like what else did you engage in outside of coursework?
So sorry, can you repeat? So only outside of coursework? Okay.
So in terms of like, you know, again, two-pronged question, I guess. So one is any courses outside of Whitman that you might have taken, because we do allow you to take up to 9 credits outside of Whitman. So did you take anything? And then did you have any student club meetings or any fun activities that you did virtually as part of your learning experience?
Yeah, I'll start with like courses, additional courses, selective courses. So obviously now I wanted to focus on business analytics concentration for my MBA. So I started checking around the you know, courses that could be useful, giving you like, you know, skills that I can actually apply in my career. And because again, I'm not coming from data analytics, business analytics kind of major field, you know, I needed something short, sweet, give me good skills that I can grow myself maybe on top of it later in my career. So I took several classes from School of Engineering, I believe. So I took Introduction to Data Science, very useful class. I learned the skills in R, coding, amazing, because that's what I used next 7 months in my internship. And then big data analytics. That's what I use right now at my work, in fancy projects. We call it's fancy projects. And then I also took like introduction to database management, I believe. So that's one that is what I do right now 80% of the time. So I think I always, when I look back, I feel like I did a good choice. But also these courses existed, you know, when the ones that give you actual skills that you can use in your career, like every day. And all those selective courses, I would say more than like 70% of the skills I've learned there, I used in my career already every day, from SQL to R to Python coding to data, like big data analytics. I use it every day. I use it in my internship. So that was my experience taking selective courses. My goal was to get real skills that I needed, and I got them. And then, coming to outside of the you know, curriculum, like additional kind of
I would experience in general.
Yeah, I would say so. I always tell Tamara that even like I know that I had like, you know, full experience with clubs, maybe, and activities, like, you know, student kind of interactions, only for 1 semester. But I told her like that even during that 1 month, one semester experience gave me so much, I would say I experienced so much that I've never experienced during my undergraduate studies. So a lot of events during first, because you know, you attend a lot of events for clubs, for organizations. You're trying to learn what's happening on campus and trying to find where you belong. But yeah, going online, obviously, a lot of kind of organizations, like, you know, their events and work kind of slowed down. So my biggest thing that I started participating in is something that, I could more focus on something that again could bring some benefits to my career, I guess. We have this Techstar accelerator at the library. I participated in the events. I went to their, they had speakers, they had business competition. I participated in that business competition as well. I actually also, we had like a presentation from Bloomberg, Introduction to Bloomberg Terminal. I started taking there, and it's all was like outside of the, your curriculum.
Yeah,
So
it wasn't for credits.
yeah, so I was
but-
trying more to focus onto something that I can like, additional learn around, but also kind of, again, I coming from entrepreneurial experience, I really was interested in this Techstar accelerator. So that's something I, spend more time on.
Okay, and very quickly, just touch upon your internship. Where and what did you do?
Yeah, so I actually found it through Handshake. Handshake was the tool that Syracuse also provided us to, was one of the tools where we can search for jobs. And I worked at nonprofit organization at Sorenson Impact and the University of Utah. And so I just finished in May this course Introduction to Data Science. It was all about skills in R, coding in R. Right away, I started the job in June. All thing I do is using R. Like that was like it's just matched so perfectly. But also, yes, this internship, so I did it for a whole summer, I'm sorry. And then I've learned that I can continue doing this internship if I will take apply some of my credits at Whitman to this internship. And actually Professor Harder would like be my advisor for this course, so he would like make sure that my internships aligns with business analytic concentration. That was amazing because I wanted to continue my internship there during my first semester of second year as well. Yes, but I'll utilize these R skills, and I think obviously Introduction to Data Science gave a very good base to start utilizing R yourself and maybe learning your own learning path on top of it. So that's what happened during like my internship. I was first of all applied in the real life, in a real organization that does make difference in the world, and also improve my R skills, learn more visualization. And it's actually came handy during my second year, because again, classes at university at Whitman, when we discuss cases, not only like business cases from big companies and like examples of successful companies or unsuccessful companies. We also discuss kind of each own experiences, and a lot of people had their work experience before, and we would share. And it was very interesting that I could actually share some new learnings from this internship during my classes, and we could analyze those experiences and maybe bring some learning points.
Great. Tamara, what about you? What was your internship experience at MSG?
My internship experience, well, I got my internships through career services. And that was one of the extra, things that are available to students. As Sabina said, so many opportunities on campus that you're sort of like in Disneyland, where you have to pick and choose what can you attend, because you have only 24 hours in a day, and in between classes and homework, you have to be picky of where to invest your time, whether that be to go into this new club or go to your career services, which, to be honest, I treated as a therapy session. And then on top of that, and thankfully the career services people were very, gentle and patient with me. But what else? There's also a bunch of career fairs. I came very prepared. Basically any information that was at Syracuse about Syracuse University of any upcoming events, that was all already in my calendar. I also participated in Launchpad.
Blackstone
if
Launchpad.
you know, yep, that it's basically like a student organization for students that with entrepreneurial backgrounds. We started a business analytics club. it came naturally because we didn't have one yet at the time. And then what else? Oh, an Orange Tank. There was I took first place in Orange Tank, which was a business pitch competition. So there were a lot of things on campus that sort of prepared me to get to the internship phase. And once I was at the internship, it was very entertaining. Of course, I can talk here about work, but it's Madison Square Garden. I cannot ignore the entertainment of it, the going to the concerts, the, being in the middle of the city and in the middle of everything happening. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so moving on from there, let's just spend a minute and here you actually state, because I don't think we touched upon it anywhere in this podcast so far. What exactly is your title currently, and what do you do in your day-to-day? Give us a little snapshot of your day-to-day.
Sure. Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
So I'm currently a senior financial analyst at Google, in particular for our cloud organization. I do P&Ls, whether that be the product P&L or go-to-market sales P&L, essentially supporting the business and telling them how good they do in terms of, our margins and various other metrics. I would say that's the bulk of my work. There's also a lot of other FP&A work, like non-payroll OpEx management, headcount management, but that's more of an extra on the side. But again, as the org changes, as the business changes, and with AI and everything, our responsibilities change pretty frequently. So that's just a snapshot of what I do this month.
Still following the money in some form.
Exactly.
Okay, there we go.
Sabina.
All right, Sabina, what about you? What is your official title designation, and then what do you do? Give us a snapshot.
Yes. I'm currently a business intelligence engineer at Amazon. I am part of centralized BI team within North America stores, and we are supporting our business teams, business customers for with reporting solutions. If someone asks me on usually what do you do actually, I'm always saying, do you know Amazon.com? Everything what's happening there, we do reports on that. So that's pretty much in the short version, what I do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So talking about we've taken you down through memory lane in a way, like how you came to Syracuse, what did you do in terms of coursework, and what did you do in terms of student activities and things like that. So I want to move a little bit into what are your plans in terms of further expanding yourselves, because I know you're well known on your YouTube channels. So how are you two working with your podcast, or what else do you do when you're not officially working at Google or Amazon? Sabina?
I would probably start giving word to Tamara since she's more leading. Let her start.
Sure, I can start. I think social media and content creation was at least more of a side thing for me, just because I've come to realization that personal brand is important even when you're trying to get hired. And at work, people can be talking about the impact, the value add, and having 200 stakeholders is a lot. But where do we basically decide what is worth of the value add, like 200 stakeholders in your 9 to 5, or 100,000 people who are waiting for you to give them some value add, some content, whether that be entertainment or valuable information. So in terms of that, and just the possibility of having a bigger impact, That's what allured me to it. Unfortunately, I haven't been as active lately in the past few years, just because my career is taking a little bit more time than usual. But I am definitely intending on returning and being more focused on it.
Sabi, you want to add anything?
Sure. I'm not active as Tamara on YouTube.
That's because you're out running.
Yeah, sure. My social media work would be like limited to LinkedIn. But I feel like I always was driven, like, with helping people and, like, bringing them to places where you are. So one thing I did in the past a lot, I actually was, trying to stay always kind of like open to LinkedIn, invites coming from current Syracuse students or current students from Azerbaijan that would reach out and ask for help, like what would be career path maybe, or would ask questions in regards to my career path, in regards to my experiences in US, at Syracuse University or at Amazon. So that's something that I really kind of focused on. Actually, recently is also talking to Tamara in terms of like that I would like to be more having like some type of creating my own platform place where I can, bring some useful information, have some voice for someone who either passed same experience, like through same experience as us. But this is yet to come. Tamara is a good, I would say critique there, because she had already experience with social media. So yeah, I think stuff like some good projects yet to come, I would say.
Great. So with that, let's segue into what we have, because I know there are quite a few questions over here. So let's see if we can answer some of these questions. Carolina, welcome back.
Hello, hi. Yes, we have a few questions, in fact. I think that we can go straight to them. The first one is, what were the biggest challenges you faced when moving to Syracuse, and how did you overcome them? I think it's for Tamara and Sabina.
The two panelists here, they moved from Baku.
I think, if you don't mind, I'll start. Sure. The biggest challenges, I think, were probably the immigration paperwork. And honestly, it was very draining, but I think it's better for you to not know the challenges that you're going to face and just figure out as you go. Because if somebody told me ahead of time that there will be this much of paperwork and this much of things that you will have to figure out, as they say, ignorance is bliss. Because like, as you take everything one thing at a time, whether that be applying to CPT, OPT, everything, you find the resources on campus that will help you figure out, as long as you take it one day at a time. So I would say that
you want to step back a little bit before coming to even Syracuse, like from Baku, what challenges did you face?
Oh, way back, the challenges from Baku.
Yeah.
I would say, I don't know, Sabina, do you want to take that one?
Well, because in a way, I think, okay, let me rephrase this in a different way. Because when you are applying as a student who has some prior experience, so because Tamara, you came as a visiting student, so you had, and it was through a US Education USA sponsored thing, so they helped you with it. But when you come as a general student who is applying to the US for the first time, it can be a little overwhelming because there is a lot of paperwork you have to go through. First, the application process is not easy. So finding the universities is another process. It's almost like a full-time job in itself, isn't it? Identifying the particular coursework and then trying to figure out your practical constraints with budgeting and trying to understand money conversion in foreign exchange rates, all of those things. But then for Sabina, I guess Tamara had already gone through all of that experience, so it made it a little easier. So, yeah. And then once you come onto campus, there are different sets of, I'll just answer this for both of you. Forget it. Go to the next.
We can leave.
Let me just lay out the student experience. First, have to apply. The application process, yes, can be overwhelming, which is why, we encourage everybody to reach out, attend such sessions, because you're not only learning about the alumni's experience after graduation and their story, but also their backstory. And that's why I love to do these types of information sessions instead of just spewing out information about like, here's the application, here's the criteria for admission. All of those things are available on the website. But you have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You are leaving home in pursuit of a dream. Whether that dream is, I want to study at XYZ University, or I want to just get an advanced degree, or I want to go get a job in such and such a place. Nothing is certain, because at the time you are applying, you don't know if you're going to get admission. At the time you get admission and you start the program, you don't know if you're landing an internship. Once you land the internship, you don't know if that's going to convert into a full-time offer. Yeah. And this is something that you have to become comfortable with, in the fact that everything might be uncertain, but it always plays out. And how best can you be prepared for it? So if you want further details about specifically applying to Whitman or choosing any of the programs, reach out to me and we can set up a separate appointment or what have you. But for now, Carolina, let's take any other questions.
Yeah. Did you feel supported by the university community as an international student?
Yeah, I would say yes. We did have a lot of events specifically for international students. We had specific onboarding day when it was for international student. I think the one that I really appreciated was like a quick course on safety and security on campus and outside of campus. Because me, as coming from Azerbaijan, whereas like we were feeling fine, again, we were in our own environment, right? And then there they coming and they saying like, hey, if you see for anything like from medical situation happening, something we just don't feel comfortable, support for international students was always there. And this safety security course was very useful. I really appreciated the on-campus police, I think security, not police, security we had, because I remember first year I don't know place and I don't have friends yet, and I was like, it would be 10 p.m. I would be at university and it's dark, and I want to go home, but I'm also like alone. I don't know very well this area. So cool thing was I could call them and they could pick me up and drop me off at my place. And that was awesome. So I would say definitely security and our well-being from mental perspective was definitely taking like very good care of. And I think even Tamara had a good experience with like mental care in regards to staying at Syracuse.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just very convenient.
Someone like, people would make sure that they check in with you and everything, It was great.
Thank you. And a more general question, I think, is what kind of support is available to help students adapt to life at Syracuse, both academically and culturally?
Academically, I would say just the dean's office, the professors, any professor that you reach out to outside of class will be welcoming of questions, whether that be pertaining to coursework or otherwise. Again, at least in my experience. Generally speaking, there was also this Whitman Graduate Student Organization, which organized gatherings for us as students, which would allow us to get together and get to know each other, again, outside of class, which is much more eye-opening, especially considering how diverse the classroom usually is. So lots of support there. And usually there would be a batch ahead of you, like older batch, and they would definitely pass along some wisdom to the younger folks coming in. And last but not least, outside of it, as we said, all the official university resources that are available. It's really up to the student to use them all and to make the most of it, because they are definitely available for them.
I would also add specifically in there, which is important to sort of understand for the student experience. You have an academic advisor who works with you to guide you in your courses, to choose your particular coursework and stay on track for completion of your coursework. And then the other set of advisors that you would work with would be the career advisors in the Whitman Career Center. And they work with the MBA and the MS students. I mean, they also work with undergraduate students, but because we are talking about graduate programs, we have two career advisors right now who would work with you in terms of determining your trajectory based on how you evolve in the program, right? So we don't expect by any means that you remain the same when you come into the program as you were before, and you don't grow at all and your ideas don't change. From the two stories that you've heard today, you already know that things can change as quickly as just taking a course. So yes, so you do have two sets of advisors who will guide you through the process. And outside of that, of course, you do have university resources. And it has always been, I've been at Whitman since 2014, so it's been quite a while. And I have been through different deans and associate deans. So what I can tell you, what has remained constant at Whitman, at least in my perspective, is open door policy for students top down, from the dean's office all the way down. So everybody is available if you want to, request a meeting and just have a chat to discuss life, or you discuss, your coursework and your next steps.
One more thing, if I may add, definitely +1 on the open door policy, but you also have to, going back to the fact, if you recall, I mentioned that there was no business analytics class, and yes. I just simply reached out to the dean's office. I was like, hey guys, you don't have this. I'm creating it, just so you know. They're like, okay, here's your supportive academic advisor, because each club has to have one. But it just goes to show you what kind of environment there was there, that I, as a person in my first semester, felt comfortable going and saying, hey, I'm doing it, or recommending something for them, or even demanding some improvements. So,
and they're scolding, I should say. I got the scolding saying, why isn't there a club? And I responded, well, there isn't. It's a new specialization. You start one.
So yeah, I would say the whole team was very responsive to feedback and definitely acts on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. I see here another great message, in fact, from a student, Farida, that is from Baku. And first of all, she would like to express how proud she is of your accomplishments and the inspiration you provide. And then she asks for more information, if you have them, about these scholarships. In particular, I think Shri maybe can give you some other info.
Yeah, so Whitman School of Management, we offer merit-based scholarships. And we don't usually discuss how much scholarship each student can receive, because that depends on your overall candidacy, right? And so it's dependent on the entire merit of your candidacy. And some changes have happened since the time when Tamara and Sabina attended the program, because at that time it was pre-COVID. Admissions requirements were also a little different, right? Because there was no flexibility in whether you could get admitted into the program without submitting a standardized test score like a GMAT or a GRE. Whereas now, a few years down the line, it has now become recommended, but it is not required. So then if you, as a candidate, let's say, for example, candidate A, candidate B, we have two candidates. Overall, everything is similar in their profile. You all submitted the online application, you've written an essay, you've submitted 2 letters of recommendation and your business resume. You have the same level of work experience. The only differentiator happens to be one of you has submitted a GMAT score or a GRE score and the other person hasn't. Then that is a differentiator, right? So you're going back to scholarship, every aspect of your candidacy is taken into account to determine merit. Now, that's not to say that just because you have written an essay and the other person has also written an essay. It depends on what you wrote in the essay, how you expressed yourself. So there are certain things which are very subjective to your experience as a student. So I would say view it as not just completing an application and just rushing to finish something as a rushed application, but rather treat it like you would an actual job interview for a position that you really want, right? So you spend a lot of time researching, you spend a lot of time trying to tell your story, but you also do it in the most compelling and efficient manner, because keep in mind, there's a word limit. So how you present your candidacy matters, and your scholarship, we do not offer full tuition scholarships based on merit, and merit scholarships are the only things typically that we do offer. So I would say in order to compete for the highest range of scholarship, you would want to present a very compelling candidacy.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank
and if you want an evaluation of your candidacy before you submit an application, reach out to me and we can schedule a meeting. We can, do those kinds of things, but or have a conversation and discussion about, based on your work experience, your trajectory, what would be a better fit. Like, for instance, when Tamara first reached out, she reached out for a completely different program. She had written a very nice email giving a little bit of her family business history, and then saying, I was wondering if I would be eligible to apply for an MS degree in entrepreneurship and emerging enterprises. And I said, we'll schedule a meeting. Let's see if we can get you into the MBA. So there was, right, because there is already a certain amount of understanding with the running of the family business. So why would you want to stay with an MS degree when you can shoot higher? So if that's the type of evaluation that I can offer you, then yes, so be it.
Yeah, I just shared in the chat talking about that 2 links, one for the graduate programs and one for the contact information. You can see.
Well, I would actually I will provide my personal information
Yeah,
here.
great. If you
I
can,
don't think
would
I can
be,
send
would
it
be
to
helpful.
everybody, so I'll send it to you, Carolina. Maybe you can post it.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
So I will give you my email. You can reach out to me directly rather than sending a message to the contact form because you attended this webinar. I only request that in the subject line when you send that message, if you could say, Docsity participants and reference this particular webinar, then I know where you came from as opposed to a generic candidate.
Fantastic. Right? It's a great opportunity. Thank you. And also, I take this occasion to communicate that in the next few days, you will receive an email with some other information, some email contacts, and also the recording of this webinar on YouTube. So you can watch it again and catch all the information that you need. Don't worry if you miss something. Sorry?
Are we going to wind up soon? Because I do have one little surprise.
Yeah, we can read some other questions if you want. Yes. We still have 3 other questions.
Let's go.
Another one for the girls, for example, is how did you balance academics and social life at Syracuse University?
For Sabina, it was easy. She had none.
Oh, no.
She was in a virtual environment.
God. Yeah, I do agree. So I will give the word to Tamara. Yes.
I would say there was no balance. There were days when one took over and there are days when the other was more important. But at the end of the day, you had to remember what's your long-term goal. And the goal was to land a placement, not to get a 4.0, unless obviously you're aiming for a career in academics, which I was not. So at sometimes I would prioritize networking and social life over the academics, and I don't regret it for sure.
Yeah, let me go check all those assignments again one more time.
Yeah. I would add here, actually, well, again, during first semester, but then actually even during the second year when we were able to go in classes, it was more hybrid version. I think the most thing what I liked is that everything we needed was kind of in one place most of the time. So me and the friends that I met, you know, at the MBA or like other master's degree, master's yes, master's teams, yeah, groups, we really like to have these team rooms booked, you know, and we would sit there. Like during my first semester, I literally wouldn't go home until it was 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. because we would do from fun, from socializing, going to events together, to sitting and doing actually our homework in the same space. And I think that saved us a lot of time instead of going home and maybe doing it alone. So I feel like that's what I like the most, is that I just lived almost like more than 12 hours per day. I was literally on campus. I wasn't leaving. Food is there, comfortable situation, like, you know, like environment is there, people are there, your, you know, peers are there, your professors available if you want to go and quickly ask someone something, you know, or like at career center. So everything was like just everything is consolidated on campus. So it was very convenient to stay all day and go home just to sleep and take shower. That's all.
Yeah.
Great. So in the meantime, I've just shared in the chat the link to receive the certificate of attendance for this webinar. And Shri, if you want, you can go ahead with your surprise.
Yeah, so we have one little surprise. Sabina and I planned this on Tamara, so she doesn't know that this is coming. She had an advantage, not just of being in person on campus, because, you know, Sabina, of course, had the disadvantage of the pandemic. Not that we planned it that way, but Whitman doesn't, I want to give a disclaimer, Whitman doesn't have any part in this next piece of information, but it happened at Whitman. So I think I have to bring it up. Sabina, Tamara, do you recognize now what that advantage was?
What happened at Whitman? What happened at Whitman?
You were able to find a life partner?
Oh, yeah, a degree and a +1.
Your classmate?
Yes, that was definitely one of my favorite bonuses that I picked up from campus. Still around. In another room right now.
Okay, so that was our little surprise for Tamara. She did, not that, again, let me reemphasize, you know, don't come to Whitman just because you want to do that. You come to Whitman to get a degree from any of the offerings we have. But like she said, that is a nice bonus. And
yeah, I mean, let me phrase it this way. The admissions committee is already filtering out the best candidates for us. So you might as well take advantage.
So I should get credit for this.
Yes, basically. Thank you, Shri. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome. I'm very happy to have played a small role in your, you know, in your life, both helping you get into your professional trajectory and also in your personal life. I take
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for this romantic wrap up, let's say. And of course, again, I would like to remind you that you will receive the recording of this webinar and also a thank you email with some other information. I would like to thank our panelists for being here with us today, for the interesting debate, and also for the testimonials and for all the advices. Very helpful. And of course, as usual, I would like to thank Shri for her kindness and for her availability. And I hope to see you again in the next webinar organized by Docsity in partnership with Syracuse University. So have a nice rest of the day. Thank you.
One last thing I want to say to my panelists here especially is if the audience, if you're able to see the rapport that we have on this webinar today, Tamara was my direct recruit in the sense, yes, I had interactions with her prior to her coming to Whitman and then saw her growth in the process. Sabina and I had never interacted when she had come into the program because of the circumstances under which it was. And I was virtually recruiting, but to see this level of camaraderie, it is my privilege and honor to be able to reach out to my former students and still have them answer the messages and be willing to engage with me. So it's a deep honor and privilege. But also, I think this gives you an idea about the type of community we are at the Whitman School of Management. And so once you come in, it's part of the Orange family, and you always remain.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
guys.
So our newest tagline, which you two might appreciate, be Orange, be Whitman. And with that,
Beautiful.
Carolina, it's a pleasure to see you again. Thank you so much
Thank
for the
you.
opportunity for having us. And I hope everyone has a great day, evening, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.